David, let's get this out of the way first. Is it coming home or not?
It's interesting, that question. I get asked it a lot. It's the thing
I'm
I get
sure you
asked
do.
most in my life now by people, whether they be people like yourself or people on the street, stopping me in the street and saying, Dave, is it coming home? And of course, the first thing to say is that that phrase didn't necessarily mean we're going to win.
Yeah. It's not an arrogant thing.
It's definitely not. It's not meant to be. It's meant to be just a kind. Well, it refers to the fact that the song was written in 1996 when football literally came to England, and England is theoretically the home of football because we codified the rules first of all. So let me say all that.
Yeah. That's your disclaimer.
So that Luka Modric, who in 2018 apparently riled up the Croatian side against us by saying they think they own football. Listen to that song, right? Just it's okay, Luka. Don't think that. Okay.
Chill out.
It's not an arrogant song. It's actually quite a vulnerable song. So, but if we have to take it to, are we going to win? Well, here's what I think. I was a little bit critical, I have been, on social media of some of the squad selections. Partly because I've been doing this podcast, which I came on here to talk about a while ago, called 60 Years of Her, about Englishness and football. And I was always bothered about the fact that when I was growing up and starting to like football, England tended to not pick its most maverick players. It didn't pick, its Rodney Marshes and these won't mean anything to you, I don't think, but Stan Bowles, Tony Curry, Frank Worthington, these names won't mean anything to you, but they wouldn't pick them because there was a sense in which, like, we've got to have these kind of stoic, duty men who can really, like, do the jobs we give them. We can't have fancy Dans. And it felt a bit to me like Thomas Tuchel had gone a bit that way by not picking Cole Palmer or Phil Foden or Trent Alexander-Arnold or James Wharton or a few of these other, Morgan Gibbs-White, lots of these sort of really interesting players. And he's gone for really fast, really physical players. And so I wasn't sure about that. And I'm still not sure about it. But what I think is that he's got an idea of how to make this team cohere into a sort of a team with amazing heart and amazing spirit and a sense of identity and a sense that they really know who they are and what they're playing for and what their football thing is. And
but they are still making us suffer.
No, making us suffer is part of that. I think making us suffer is part of Englishness, I think. I mean, although to be fair, the Germans have made Germany suffer. Argentina have hardly not made Argentina suffer recently. So maybe that's just part of suffering. The only team, I mean, even France. But one of the interesting things, here's the other thing why I think it might be coming home. I mean, it's a very invidious thing to say. But sometimes teams are brilliant straight out of the box. And the only team that's really been like that is France in this tournament. And then sometimes teams at tournaments sort of stutter gradually into life as the tournament goes on. And that would be England in this tournament. They've played a lot of... They looked brilliant against Croatia, but then their light went out against Ghana. England have done a thing whereby they seem to be finding how to play and finding who they are as the tournament goes on, with a lot of things going wrong. I like Thomas Tuchel's, as it were, in-game intelligence. He's someone who seems to be able, which Gareth Southgate wasn't so good at, about watching a game, seeing it go wrong and trying to fix it. He seems really good at that, and he's good at shouting from the touchline. I've seen a lot of him shouting.
And using the tea breaks. They're not called tea breaks,
they're not called tea breaks.
They're
called hydration breaks. But what they are is ad breaks. Let's be clear about that.
Exactly.
They are ad breaks, but they are called hydration breaks, and he uses them well,
Just coming back to It's Coming Home, or whether it is or isn't, it was interesting because Frank Skinner said recently that it's now all about Manchester and Wonderwall and, you've got a new Prime Minister coming in.
Did he say that?
Manchesterism, yeah. Well, he sort of alluded to that.
Right.
Has he got a point? I mean, are other songs supplanting the Three Lions?
No, because Three Lions is a football song. And none of these other songs are football songs.
Written for the purpose.
It's written as Wonderwall's a brilliant song, by the way. And I really like Wonderwall much more than Sweet Caroline, which is the last song to do this.
Me too.
But this is what happens. And actually, I really like what's happening at the moment, which is that when the game finishes, which is brilliant, no other team has this, they put on Three Lions. If you listen, when the players are falling down with exhaustion or hugging each other because they've won or shaking hands, they're playing Three Lions in the background and the crowd are joining in. And then when things settle down, that's over, and they play the next song, which is Wonderwall, and that's when the team goes over and does that, and I find that really moving. But it's not a football song. One thing I think they've done, which I quite like, is the England team line up to hear Wonderwall like a wall, like a football wall. So when the crowd sing "You're My Wonderwall," it does sound a little bit like they do mean it in a football way.
But Three Lions, that will stay the first song.
I hope so. I hope so. It's the GOAT. I've said it.
It is, yeah. I mean, and, you wrote it when England hosted Euro 96, didn't you? And, of course, now co-host the World Cup, the US, controversial host. What did you think of Trump's decision to intervene with FIFA. Did that besmirch the beautiful game?
Yeah, but more interestingly, I thought was his decision to talk about it, because I thought that was so Trump. What I thought was brilliant was that there's all these rumours flying about the USA have got Balogun's red card suspended, right? And that seems really like dodgy, and like it's obviously about trying to keep the USA in the tournament, even though that completely failed. And everyone's like talking about it. And a sort of different president, if they'd done that, if they'd called Infantino, would have kept quiet about it.
Yeah.
Trump, and this so demonstrates his narcissism, once he realises that that's the centre of attention, that everyone's talking about that, he has to do a press conference where he says, yes, I did. Yeah. I called him and I said, he said a brilliant thing. I mean, I did laugh out loud. He said, I don't know what a red card is. I have no idea what a red card is, but I know that wasn't a foul. Well, you can't know both those things.
Yeah,
that's completely... If you don't know what a red card is, you don't know whether that's a foul. So I find it hilarious. And then I was pleased. I mean, justice was kind of... I mean, by the way, I think America have played some really good football. That's the shame. Is America have actually played some really good football in this tournament. Then I think they maybe got distracted or whatever. And Belgium... let's not forget, have had for years a kind of golden generation of amazing players who tend not to quite do it at the final stage. And then they did. They played brilliantly in that game. So it was kind of justice being served, I guess.
You've written about football and, you know, seeing it through a prism, who we are as a country. I'm going to just zoom out and look at that in a sort of global context because, you know, we've talked about Trump. You've got Nigel Farage, Trump's mini-me, putting himself forward for re-election in Clacton. Count Bimface, the only opponent. Yeah. What does that tell us about who we are and where democracy is at?
Well, yeah, I did a podcast for BBC Sounds, about the meaning of Englishness via football, but you could find the meaning of Englishness via many, many things. And one of them is definitely the fact that we have these mad people, by which I include Nigel Farage, standing for office.
Well, you were going with Count
No,
Bimface.
I did. That's what occurred to me. And then halfway through it, I thought I might as well say Nigel Farage. But yeah, you have people like Count Bimface. I mean, it seems to be mainly Count Bimface these days. I remember in the old days, it used to be the Monster Raving Loony Party and then loads of other people. But now it's mainly Count Bimface is the star of the mad party thing.
Seriously, though, what does it say about the state of our democracy that we've got, you know, the 7th Prime Minister in 10 years coming in? Something's going very wrong, isn't it?
Last time I was on this show, we talked about... What did we talk about? There was a thing where...
You felt sorry for Keir Starmer.
The thing went viral was me saying I felt sorry for Keir Starmer. And as I've said to you before on this show, the thing about talking on any show like this is you get clipped and then you get taken out of context. And the thing that will get... I don't know if you're going to clip it, but might get taken out of context here is there's a very banal answer, unfortunately, to what you're saying, which is... There's lots of reasons, but the prime reason is social media. That social media has created a clipped culture, a culture where everything's very quick, everything's very fast, everything's very binary, and there isn't much nuance, and there isn't much, and everyone's on a team, and everyone hates everyone else who's on the other team. And what you get as a result of that is sort of very extreme, sort of mad politics, I think. And it's not great for our culture. It's kind of hilarious at some level, what you've just... all that you've just said. I mean, one of the things, though, one of the things that I do always think is, as someone, I don't have, like, a political stance that I come from. I haven't had for ages. I don't map.
You used to support Labour.
Yeah, but I don't have any... Now I think, what do I think? Right? I don't think I'm left-wing or right-wing, so I have to think like that. I just think, what do I think? And therefore, the place I go to mainly is psychology. What's the psychology of this? And I have to say, the psychology of Nigel Farage, having a kind of mad... fit about the stuff that's bothering him and deciding I'm going to resign and stand again in order to prove that the people love me. It's sort of weird. That's a very odd stunt to pull.
It has been done before.
Has it? Who did it before?
Well, David Davis did it in a similar way.
Oh, I just didn't know. See, I'm not interested in politics. There you go. Who knows that David Davis did that? Did he?
Well, it was a slightly different justification.
OK.
But, you know. Anyway, what I wonder is whether your very meta clip about why, you know, whether this will go viral. What you've just said. I
don't know. We're in a really meta place. I don't know.
We really are.
What's the camera? What camera am I on? right? Okay, no, that's the most meta thing that's ever happened, which is flicking around my face and your face. But yeah, I don't know whether it's going to go viral. My point is that when you interview people, I have said this to you maybe before, but I think that one of the things that's problematic for me, because I spend all my time thinking I just want to say something that I really think and not curate what I'm saying. But it's very hard because you spend all your time on a show like this thinking, oh, but what's
going to travel?
Yeah, and if this goes viral, then it's just going to be a lot of people saying X, Y, and Z. And so therefore that gets in the way of authentic speaking.
But we've had an authentic conversation.
Yeah, well, that's because I can do it, but I can get it out of my head. But like even that thing that I just said about Nigel Farage and what's the psychology of it, obviously there's going to be reform people out there, you know, deciding to hate me, even though I'm not actually saying something political there. I'm not that bothered about the politics of it. What I'm interested in is that seems to me to be an odd psychological need to do that.
Just finally, Andy Burnham, assuming it's him, will come in the day after the World Cup final.
Oh, is that when he's coming in? The day after the World Cup final?
July 20th. World Cup final's July 19th.
Yeah, I know when the World Cup final is.
I just want to check that I haven't got that
wrong. I absolutely know when the final is. I don't know when Andy Burnham will be coronated.
Well, that's when he's going to be coronated.
Right. Coronated is not a verb, by the way, but I just said it.
It is actually.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. I didn't think it was either, but I checked that.
Okay.
However, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
So I want your predictions.
Yeah.
Who's going to do better, Andy Burnham as Prime Minister or the England team on July the 19th?
Well, if England get to the final...
Oh, you sound quite slightly sceptical.
No, if England... I mean, they've got to beat Norway, who've got Erling Haaland in it. And by the way, can I just say one other thing? I will answer your question, but I should have said, when you said, is it coming home? Not every World Cup, but a lot of World Cups have often been defined by one man. 1986, Maradona. 1982 by Paolo Rossi. You know, basically, it is possible that this World Cup will be Erling Haaland's World Cup. It's possible, because he is unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable. And
so your prediction is
that's what we need to do, is if we can contain Erling Haaland, we can win this World Cup. Because we will be cheating destiny. And
what's your prediction for Norway, though, the game versus Norway?
Well, as I say, I don't know. It totally depends on whether we can contain Haaland.
No, but give me your prediction.
What, a
give
score?
Me your bet. Yeah.
No, I'm not going to give you a score.
You don't do that?
No, I don't do that.
Because that would go viral as well.
No, it won't, because I'll be wrong. What I think is that they have to get the defence sorted out. Here's our problem. If you want to, I've got to get football-y for a minute.
Yeah.
So the problem is that he did choose some slightly odd selections, which means we don't have a lot of cover at right back. He should have taken Trent Alexander-Arnold, and Kwanzaa isn't a right back. That's not his full-time job at Bayer Leverkusen. So therefore, it was a bit of a centre-backs challenge that led to him being sent off. And Reece James is still not fit, so he has to find a way around that. And all of this means that we might be screwing up the defence when the best attacker in the world is about to play against us. So that is a problem, but we might still get around it.
God, this is the most football we've ever had on this show in its almost 3 months of history.
I know, I could go on, but I probably shouldn't.
Political prediction next. Is Andy Burnham going to be more successful?
Well, no, if England win the World Cup, right, I'm going to say it out loud. If they do, no Prime Minister is going to be as successful as that. In fact, I think you'll find that when England did win the World Cup in 1966, who was Prime Minister? Harold Wilson?
Yeah, I think so.
He was not as successful in terms of his memory and place in the English culture as that 1966 team. No one is still singing about Harold Wilson and the pound in your pocket, right? But people are, still singing about the 1966 football team.
But if we've just had a terrible defeat, we haven't got to the final, Andy Burnham, it's all to play for, basically, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't know that much about Andy Burnham. I think something very British, which is probably true enough about other countries as well, but certainly in Britain, is Andy Burnham does have something of that sort of, he seems like a sort of nice bloke, right? And sort of he's quite well put together in a kind of, you know, modern dad kind of way.
Is he the Harry Kane of politics?
No, he's definitely not. No. I mean, I say that because, and no disrespect to Andy Burnham, but Harry Kane is a massive talent. And in my opinion, sorry to say this, and this might go viral, no politician is a massive talent.
Wow.
Harry Kane is a massively more talented person than any politician.
And seemingly very nice and modest.
No, he seems like a lovely guy. But to be that good at football, that is something unbelievable. Whereas
so
to be able to be
now.
like Andy Burnham, which is good, like, you know, to be able to impress people with how you're a straight-up guy and you're northern and you're nice and you're good at this and you've done well in Manchester. I mean, that's great. But it's not like scoring that goal, you know, the various goals that Harry Kane has scored that are unbelievable.